If you've ever got some sweet revenge, you would know that it's one of the most satisfying feelings you can ever experience. And there's been plenty of revenge moments in the NBA.
It won't be an under the rim, Smitty.
Many months later.
Lillard, long range three, and it's good at the buzzer!
All around me are familiar faces.
And the one I'm gonna discuss today just might be the sweetest of them all. Starting off in the 1995 NBA season, the Houston Rockets were fresh off their first ever championship in franchise history, and Hakeem Olajuwon was the reigning MVP of the league and Defensive Player of the Year. Many people believed he was the best center in the NBA, but David Robinson certainly had something to say about that. He would begin to emerge as a dominant force at the center position, putting up incredible MVP-type numbers all year long, and perhaps eclipsing Olajuwon as the best big man in the NBA. But as the playoffs began, Hakeem's numbers were actually almost identical to Robinson's numbers. They were neck and neck with each other. Some people giving Robinson the edge for MVP, but others believing Hakeem deserved it and should secure back-to-back MVPs. Well, to win the fans over, there was only one way to settle it, and that was to face each other head-to-head in the playoffs and see who comes out on top. But there was one problem. The Rockets would enter the playoffs as only the 6th seed, while the Spurs had the best record in all of basketball. So just by looking at the standings and the opponents they would have to go through, many believed the privilege of witnessing Hakeem and Robinson go at each other in a playoff series was a long shot. In many people's eyes, it probably wasn't going to happen, but surprisingly, they didn't let anyone stop them. Stockton and Malone was no match for them in the first round. Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns actually blew a 3-1 lead, allowing Houston to advance to the conference finals. And as for San Antonio, things went down as expected. They destroyed the Denver Nuggets in round 1, handled business against the Lakers in round 2. And just like that, fans were treated with the matchup that nobody thought would even happen. But going into the series, it was obvious that the Spurs were the clear favorites, considering they had the MVP, the best record, and they absolutely dominated every meeting they had in the regular season. So the Rockets were definitely labeled as the underdogs. So the series would begin with the Rockets having to enter enemy territory in San Antonio. The Spurs fans were ecstatic because they knew what was about to happen. They knew they were about to witness David Robinson receive the Most Valuable Player award. Now remember, this was before the NBA award show. This was when you actually received the trophy in mid-court, which probably wasn't a good idea in this particular instance, because the man who believed he should be up there with the commissioner hoisting the award was right there with a front row seat and the best view in the house. Robinson then would give a speech, and as expected, thank the fans, his teammates, his coaches, and his family. But he didn't stop there. He would also reference some of the best big men in the league, like Shaquille O'Neal and Karl Malone. But what do you know? He forgot someone, Hakeem Olajuwon, which only added extra motivation. Here's Kenny the Jet Smith reflecting on that moment.
That was the night. The night that he didn't acknowledge Hakeem Olajuwon. David mentioned every player but Dream. And we're playing, and I said to Dream, I'm like, that doesn't make you bad. Oh no, Kenny, he deserves it.
Then Robinson would continue by saying, quote, "This is probably the most important award I've ever won. And if we win the championship, that obviously will go ahead of this one." There he goes again, basically slapping Olajuwon in the face. Kenny said that Hakeem kept his composure, acting like he didn't even care that David Robinson didn't acknowledge him. But as soon as the ball was thrown up in the air, he showed everyone he did care. Right away, you can tell Olajuwon was on a mission. He was able to do whatever he wanted. It was clear that Robinson didn't know how to guard him. He constantly had to deal with Hakeem's unstoppable post moves, and his pump fakes were making the Admiral look foolish. The Dream would end Game 1 with 27 points, 5 blocks, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, with 50% shooting. And on the other hand, David Robinson was horrible from the field, going 5 for 17 with 7 turnovers, ruining his MVP night.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
Game 2 was much of the same, with the Dream dropping 41 points. And also, that was when one of the most iconic individual plays happened, known as the Dream Shake. The Rockets won both of the first 2 games on the Spurs' home court, shocking the entire world, including Robinson.
I don't even know how I can say it with a straight face, but I thought most of the time I defended him pretty well. The man just played, as well as I've seen anybody play in a long time.
Hakeem's teammates were in awe by what they were watching and believed they never should have handed the award out before the series started. Olajuwon once again dropped another 40 points in Game 3, but this time in a losing effort. Going into Game 4, the Spurs were determined to even up the series, and their determination paid off by winning Game 4 and causing Olajuwon to have a lackluster performance. With David Robinson carrying the Spurs to even up the series 2-2, he might have gotten a little arrogant too quickly by saying, "Hakeem is only human and can't score 40 points every game." And that statement probably wasn't a smart idea to say, because the next game, the Dream would prove him wrong by embarrassing him and the Spurs with a 21-point blowout victory while scoring another 42 points. But this time with his deadly jump shots. Heading into Game 6, Hakeem and the Rockets were not playing around anymore. They wanted to close out the series that very night. Mission accomplished. That's exactly what happened. Olajuwon had an impressive stat line of 39 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 blocks, while Robinson was humiliated, going 6 for 17 from the field. Houston would eventually repeat as champions by sweeping the Magic, and the Dream was named Finals MVP. Although David Robinson will always go down in the history books as the 1995 MVP, Hakeem Olajuwon and the Rockets got the last laugh. Now we all know, Robinson is obviously an all-time great, but I'm sure we can all agree that this particular series might have damaged his legacy just a little bit. And what Hakeem did will go down as one of the best individual performances ever. His consistency all series long was legendary, and is something we will all remember forever. Thanks for watching, everybody. I would really appreciate it if you smash the like button on this video, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys next time.